All right, I guess it's about time to start. Let me handle this cable here. Okay. Thank you for being here. Welcome to my talk. That's my first time speaking in Copenhagen at this festival conference. So my talk's gonna be about XR in general. Like it's not going to be any like technical dive into some particular technology or how to do some tricks in Unity to achieve some particular effect, but rather I'm going to tell you the story of where we are with technologies like augmented and virtual reality and how we got to the point where we are right now. And the basis for this talk are all my conversations with my buddies, my peers at conferences and at work. As I'm doing virtual and augmented reality since 2017, and not in game dev, but rather in the industry, in manufacturing. And many people think that VR and AR is already dead, or it's not progressing anywhere. And on the other hand, I am in the very center of this world, and we keep delivering projects and products to companies that need it, and we actually solve some problems with it. And every now and then, there's a new headset or new technology out there that helps us solve some other problems in a better way. So I can see that there is not much understanding out there within people that are not particularly very deep in that technology. So that's the basis for this talk. So I'm Rafał Legiędź. I'm from Poland. I work for the company called Transition Technologies PSC, and I'm an XR development lead there. I work with all sorts of glasses and augmented and virtual reality. And I'm also an organizer of DevConf conference in Poland that we have every autumn in Łódź. And also I'm a Microsoft Mixed Reality MVP. And if you'd like to drop me a question or anything, just use my email. So, first things first. Every now and then, a big company, like you probably might be aware that every single company from the big tech world, like Google, Meta, Apple, Facebook, etc., they already jumped into the bandwagon of XR, be it AR or VR, right? So that might mean something, right? They might see some potential there, right? But the thing is that every now and then when they release something, one of these big companies, they try to distinguish themselves from the others, and they come up with new words, new names for what is already there. So you can find words, phrases like digital twin, like spatial computing, the newest one, right, from Apple. I mean, that's nothing new. I mean, you know already probably what AI means by Apple, right? It's Apple Intelligence, like if you saw the last keynote that was there. So they're known from doing these things. So mixed reality, that's the term that Microsoft came up with, or mirror world, that's something that Magic Leap came up with. Assisted reality comes from RealWare, etc. But all of that actually means more or less the very same thing, right? We're talking about some kind of extending the reality. Some people might say that metaverse is already dead, but no one knows what metaverse is. Like, there is no clear definition, right? Like, Facebook changed the name to Meta, then they tried to do metaverse, whatever that means, and then people said, okay, it's dead, right? And then some people might say, hey, VR is already dead because metaverse is dead, and that doesn't bring any value. And it's quite the opposite, actually. So my aim here is to actually leave you with the message that there is some mess in the media, there is some mess being done by these big companies themselves, but also by the influencers that are trying to talk about it because there is some hype, for example. Anyway, if you would drop all the new terms, we can just leave one term bit XR, meaning extended reality. And basically, we could divide all the experiences and devices to 2 categories. Essentially, that would be augmented reality and virtual reality. And that's it. There's no reason to come up with special computing, for example. And augmented reality would be an experience or a device that supports an experience that enhances our physical reality, right? So that might be in the form of head-worn device or a mobile device. And so you see the physical reality, your vicinity, and then it's enhanced by some virtual objects. Also, it could be accessible on the common devices, like an iPhone or Android phone. And also, it supports real-time interaction, meaning you can interact with your physical and virtual world at the same time in real time. On the other hand, virtual reality would be fully immersive experience. You drop into the world, which is like fully artificial, fully rendered, and it tricks all your senses, or most of your senses, so that you really think you're somewhere else. And that usually requires some specialized hardware because, well, you can't achieve like full immersion with your iPhone, right? Anyway, so that's the basis. And then I would like to show you something that I call XR timeline, meaning what were the particular inventions last 10 years that were meaningful enough that they changed something within XR landscape. I'm not going to show you like every single headset that was invented by some startup out there, because there were like hundreds of them, right? So I'm not saying that they were not important, but rather I'm going to show you the progress of these most meaningful ones. That's why I start this timeline with the point in time where Google Glass were revealed or announced, and that was 2014. So everything before was before Google Glass, and then Google Glass happened, 2014. Do you remember that? How many of you have seen that? I see you nod your heads. Okay, so you probably remember the hype, right? You probably have seen that like there are people telling that, well, now everything will change. We are like Iron Mans right now. We're going to have some digital information in front of our eyes, etc. But then, all of a sudden, it occurred, well, it died pretty quickly. And why was that? Well, my assumption here is that was way too early. Like society wasn't there and the technology wasn't there. Have you tried Google Glass, actually? No one. Okay, so that was a pretty poor experience. That was basically like very small display that you could actually show some 2D stuff in a small window. That's it. And society wasn't ready. Like people didn't like people walking with Google Glasses somewhere in public, right? If you think about it, we are like 10 years after that. And right now, I mean, there's no, like people are not that afraid of cameras in public, right? Like, I mean, we have Snapchat, TikTok, whatever. And like at any point in time, someone can record a video and post it on the internet, and like no one cares, right? I'm not saying like no one cares, like exactly no one cares, but it's not like it was 10 years ago, right? So when Meta, which I'm going to mention later, Meta released smart glasses with Ray-Ban that also have cameras, and you can record your Instagram reels and no one knows about it. I mean, no one talks about it, right? And there's like no one calls anyone a glass hole or anything like that. So something has changed. Then, 2 years later, Oculus Rift happened. That you might probably know. That was like the first like proper VR headset that like went mainstream and everyone could buy it, and it was kind of affordable. You still needed a pretty powerful PC to actually run some games. You have to plug in your cable to the PC, but that was like first version that was out there on the shop shelves. There were some development kits before that, DK1, DK2, but they were pretty poor. You might remember. You remember that? Have you tried the pre-Oculus Rift? headset? No. So that was like 800 by 600 resolution per eye, and that was terrible. I mean, you could instantly feel sick. Anyway, so that was a pretty big change. Then, in the same year, Microsoft released HoloLens, the very first version. Have you heard about it? Who heard about it? Okay, almost not everyone even. Okay, so that's surprising. That's why I keep doing these talks. Anyway, so that was kind of a revolution because that was like a headset that has a pass-through optical lenses, so it didn't obstruct your vision. You could see pass through the glasses, and it has holographic displays there as well. So you could see these 3D holograms out there in the world. It was able to map your environment, so we could know where the floor is, where the walls are, etc. So we can stick things, virtual things, to these physical things. And also, it was a computer by itself. It actually, like, it didn't need any external computer or computing pack to work. It ran on Windows 10. And it was pretty easy to develop for it. And that was a big thing. That's where I started with my endeavor with delivering augmented reality applications for business, because that was a pretty decent device, and still actually is, to deliver value for the companies. Then, 2016 also brought us PlayStation VR. Who knows that? That was a pretty common device. That was actually like, when it comes to number of items sold, that was a big hit, way better than Oculus Rift. But you needed PlayStation for it, and it was mainly for gaming. In 2017, something happened that not many people actually are aware of. So Microsoft decided to come up with VR headsets, so like Oculus Rift. So your vision was like occluded, and that was like a fully VR headset. But one thing changed. When you recall Oculus Rift, or for example, if you know HTC Vive, it needs external sensors to track the headset and the movement of your controllers. But what Microsoft did with some other vendors like Lenovo, HP, etc., they created a headset that has cameras on itself. And what it means, what it unlocked was they could get rid of the external sensors. So all of a sudden, the VR headset could track itself in the environment, and also it could track the controllers. So all of a sudden, you didn't need to do this pesky setup, or you didn't need to have a lot of space in your room to actually run a VR experience. That was a pretty big thing, but they didn't stick for long. I mean, these headsets. You still needed to plug them into the computer. Then 2017 also brought us Apple AR Kit. That's the development kit for Apple devices that allows you to create augmented reality experiences for your mobile devices, be it iPhones or iPads. So have you tried Apple AR whatever app? Like, no one? Okay, even the Measure app? That's probably something you used. Okay, so that's it, right? I mean, that's the simplest app, but it actually works, right? You could quickly see if something is 60 centimeters or 80, easily. And that actually unlocked, when it comes to ARKit, that unlocked Apple to give access to augmented reality device to millions of people, to all of the users of iPhones and iPads, like the more modern ones, where all of a sudden they became augmented reality devices. Then 2017 also brought us RealWear. Have you heard about it? No, that's a very specialized device, and that's mainly used in manufacturing. And that's a very simple device in itself. It's small, it has a small display, and that display is in front of your eye. And it basically streams whatever the camera sees that is here. And what we can do as developers, we can just write to that stream, so we can render stuff on that video stream. So that's not that visually attractive, but we could deliver these augmented reality experiences for people that can't wear bigger head-worn devices, like people that need to wear, for example, protective glasses like the guy on this picture. So it solves some issues, and we keep using that until now. I mean, I'm part of projects that actually use glasses like that. 2018 brought us a startup, Magic Leap 1, and that was, as I said before, there were plenty of startups out there that were trying to do all sorts of head-worn device or even contact lenses with augmented reality capabilities. But this particular one is actually the one that sticks for a little bit longer. Have you heard about it? Have you tried it? Yeah, okay, so one person heard about it. And that was a pretty decent headset. That was actually something that delivered value like HoloLens. Then 2018, Google tried to catch up with ARKit, and they released AR Core for Android devices, and that's essentially equivalent of ARKit, but for Android phones. 2019 brought us HoloLens 2, which was and still is a wonderful device. That's the next iteration of HoloLens 1, and I'm not saying like better because they enhanced some things and then they kind of broke some other things, but all in all, that's a wonderful device, and we still use it for several projects, and we still suggest or have sometimes quotes from our clients, and they ask for projects particularly for HoloLens 2 because, for example, they have 10 items of 10 HoloLenses and they need something for that. And that was also a computer by itself that doesn't need any connection to an external computer. It had a flip-up visor, so we could do this and don't see, and just use your bare eyes. And that's a holographic device as well, similar to HoloLens 1. Then 2019 happened, and that's when Oculus Quest was released, and that's something you probably heard of, because that's like the most popular VR headset right now. I mean, right now we have the third iteration of it. And the first one was, I think, one of the best things that happened for to the VR market, because they did a lightweight version of the VR headset. It was pretty decent when it comes to hardware, and it was standalone, so it didn't need any connection to an external PC, powerful PC, but it has some like capabilities of like decent Android mobile phone. Anyway, but what they did is what Meta does with what their approach is for Oculus Quest is that they keep doing software updates like once a month, I think. So you get OS update with pretty much every single month. There's like new feature or several features that are unlocked with the software update, and that's what they do since the very beginning in 2019. And I think right now it's like version 68, and that means how many months they're actually doing that. Pretty much. Sometimes it's like twice a month. Anyway, so for example, here on the picture is a sample of like one of the first bigger software update back then. Originally, you use controllers for playing with the headset, and it tracks the controllers and tracks itself because it does have cameras. But all of a sudden, they released a software update that unlocked hand tracking. So it wasn't marketed as a device that supports hand tracking when it was released, but then Meta tries to do these updates that unlocks new features like hand tracking, like augmented reality. So for example, first augmented reality that you could achieve on this VR headset was released for version 2 of Quest when they unlocked the pass-through camera video feed so that you could see your environment through the cameras in the display inside, right? And then we could render on top of that and have augmented reality experience. So that's how it looks like. And that's when they started to speed up, because a year after, they released the second version of it. Have you tried it? Do you have it? No? No. Anyway, that was cheaper, which is pretty surprising, and just better when it comes to hardware. Then 2021, once again, Meta. What they released glasses that they did with Ray-Ban that looks like regular Wayfarer glasses. And it's not, it's anywhere near augmented reality glass. But what they did was they put some cameras on top of that. They put some speakers so that you can play music, so you can take pictures or record videos and can post them as like Instagram Reels. But that's interesting approach, and my guess here is that what Meta is trying to do, they have these two lines of development, like they're doing VR headsets on one hand, and they keep pushing this technology to make it smaller, better, better quality. And on the other hand, they took regular glasses and they tried to put more and more technology into them, and maybe at some point they will converge. Who knows? And 2022, Meta Quest Pro was released. That was also Meta. So if you noticed, like Meta was doing like every single year a new release since 2018. So they're really into it. They released Meta Quest Pro, which was something really surprising because no one kind of knew what is it for, because that was quite expensive, 1,700 euro. And it brought some new features like eye tracking, or the controllers didn't have the round things on them, because they put cameras on the controllers as well, so that the controller can track itself, right? So they did some advancements, but I don't think it picked up. I mean, it's there, but I haven't seen any real projects being done on that. Then 2022, the next version of Magic Leap happened, Magic Leap 2, and this device is, well, the second iteration of the first one, and that startup received a lot of funding from external sources, and they actually created a pretty decent headset. And this is something I'm personally involved in 2 projects that we do for Magic Leap 2 for like real big companies. And that's also a holographic device, so your vision is not obstructed, it's not occluded. You can see pass through them, and you render basically some holograms on top of your real world. Then 2023, Meta, once again, they released Meta Quest 3. Have you heard about it? Have you seen it? Do you have one? No, so this is like, for me, or if anyone asks me which VR device should I get, this is the #1 device in my opinion. Like price-wise, quality-wise, you can't find anything better than that, to be honest. It's standalone as the predecessors. It's light and the quality is good, and you can actually stream your games if you want. You can stream your better, like AAA VR games from your PC wirelessly, and the library of games is just enough to keep you busy. And this is also something we use in the business to deliver value. 2023 also brought PlayStation VR 2, but I guess they're too late to the game because, well, if you compare this to whatever you've just seen, it's way too bulky, and you still need PlayStation to play that, PlayStation 5. So I don't think it will pick up. And then, last but not least, you probably heard about it, VisionPro. The hype was real, right? Probably you have seen all the weird videos on the internet, people doing weird stuff. I also post some videos like that. I do have VisionPro with me if you'd like to try afterwards. So, funny thing is that in my part of the industry where we deliver projects on all sorts of head-worn device, we were kind of assuming that okay, if Apple would do something, they would solve some problems that we have with the devices that we're using right now, because they will probably teach themselves a lesson, and we will get some device that is actually like decent enough to deliver some bigger value, right? But what happened? Well, they created a personal device, which is, in my opinion, something that you don't share with anyone, because it's like very, it fits your face, and it's based on eye tracking. So you control this device with your eyes, and mainly, and it depends on like shape of your face, basically, and also it's very fragile, right? And the biggest mistake of Apple designers, in my opinion, is that it's pretty heavy, and that's not all, because it has an external battery. It's pretty powerful, don't get me wrong. It's powerful, and the quality of the material and software is Apple level, right? But when it comes to sharing that with anyone, like at work, for example, or on the factory floor, the biggest mistake here is how they created that cushion that is here, that protects your eyes. Because whenever you get off the headset, you usually hold it here. But what they do, they use magnets here, right? So like it's very easy to take it off and just drop if you grab it here. And that's like for me, it's like I would never just suggest it to any company to actually implement it and put it on the factory floor or in the office. Because I can imagine, like, the second I get it, I give it to someone, it would get broken like instantly. I'm pretty sure it would happen. But anyway, outside of that, that's a wonderful device. It's pretty powerful. It's based on Apple Silicon M2, and if you know what that is, that's one of the processors you can find in MacBooks. So it's pretty good. And all in all, if I would be to suggest a headset for exploration or for delivering a project or for augmented or virtual reality, I would pick this. Like, for virtual reality, if I would be to suggest a headset, that would be Quest 3, because it's like price to value is the best. When it comes to phones, iPhones from 12 Pro and up, because of the LiDAR sensor, which really helps with scanning the environment. For augmented reality, head-worn device, Magic Leap 2. And if you really would like to play with Apple product and Apple way of doing augmented reality and play with some high-end device that brings VR, then Apple Vision Pro. Price-wise, it looks like this. So you can see that Magic Leap and Vision Pro is priced pretty high. And for Magic Leap, for example, that's pretty understandable, because like that's an enterprise targeted product. It's not meant for consumers. With Apple, well, the price is enterprise, but it's targeted to consumers. So I don't know what they meant by that. If you get Quest 3, well, the price is like, it's basically in the price of like PlayStation. I don't know how much PlayStation costs right now, but I guess it's similar to this price. If you would ask me what I use all of them, basically. I have all the Quests and Magic Leap 2 and HoloLens 2 and Vision Pro and some other stuff that is not on my desk. And okay, do you have any questions regarding hardware? No questions. Okay. So, common misconceptions. They're only for gaming, okay? Well, What do you mean? Like almost all of them are wireless. Yeah, I mean, Magic Leap 2 has the battery pack and the computing unit. You can actually see the round thing. That's the battery pack and computing unit that is wired. And VisionPro has the external battery, which looks like this. But that's only it. The other headsets are all wireless. They are standalone. All the Quests and HoloLens, they are the computers by themselves. And that's actually a trend. It keeps, so since like 2017, all the vendors, they try to get rid of the cables. But, for example, the Magic Leap approach is quite interesting because, well, we have the cable there, right? And we have this heavy-ish computing unit that you have to put somewhere. But on the other hand, as a result, the whole glasses, the headset itself is lighter. It's way lighter than HoloLens 2, for example, right? So, well, they have to figure it out what they're like, what value they would like to bring. With VisionPro, headset and the battery are heavy. So also, I don't know what they did here. But well, the quality of display here is actually amazing. So that's one of the best things. Common misconceptions. That's based on like the things I keep hearing here and there. So that's I'm gonna go through them and say why they're false. They're only for gaming. Well, they are not. I mean, of course, you can have a good fun with virtual reality headsets and also AR ones, but they're also capable of delivering an actual business value to various industries. So this is, for example, one of the projects we're doing for a shipyard industry, and that runs on Magic Leap 2. And the aim here is the business, they wanted to be able to measure distances between these two round things called flanges. So we are scanning them, we are detecting where they are, and then when I know where they are in the space, I can make measurements, for example. And we did all the tests on HoloLens 2, we implemented it for iOS and Android, and then I ported it to Magic Leap 2, and we did testing, we had the reference values, and all the error is so small that it could be actually used in production. And like the main scenario here would be, imagine these two round things be on the sides within a ship, and you have to create a piece of piping between them. So what they have in the shipyard was the guy, a welder guy, that was creating a prototype by basically welding pieces of piping and creating the prototype, like physical, heavy prototype. And then based on that prototype, they created a CAD project. And then based on that CAD project, they created one piece piping to actually fit there. But with this software, they could actually, without that welding machine, that welding guy, etc., they can just scan these two round things, and we are actually streaming it in real time to CAD software, and the CAD engineer can design that piece of piping, and that's it. You have your CAD design, and you can produce that piece of piping. So we got rid of that welding guy and the whole process of creating physical prototype, which is like pure value if you think about it, right? And this kind of scenarios you can count endlessly. But the thing is, and that's the most interesting part of the job, is that it's less common that the business would come to you and say, hey, we would like to solve this with Magic Leap 2. It's rather, we're going to the businesses and factories and shipyards and refineries, etc., and we're looking for problems and trying to suggest, okay, here we could use that, for example. Sometimes it happens that just the client comes in and they say, okay, we want this for HoloLens 2, please estimate that. Okay, so it's sometimes like that. But But yeah, I mean, many businesses aren't aware what are the capabilities, right? Not sure if you were aware of that, and you are very tech-savvy people. So imagine business people or people that run factories or workers on the factory floors. They might not be even aware that this is something that is real, right? Also, that's done for the shipyard in Croatia, Split, and that runs on HoloLens 2. And this is an aim for laser welders. So I'm not quite sure how exactly laser welding works, so I'm not going to explain that in very detail. But what I do know that what the problem was is that they need to teach laser welders how to weld two pieces of metal, right? And when it comes to laser welding, you have to do it under a particular angle and with a particular speed. So what we did is we created this helper in augmented reality so that it displays you this kind of hint, right, of what kind of angle you have to take with the pistol, welding pistol, and what speed you have to make with that pistol to actually do the proper welding. And that's for HoloLens 2, so also holographic device. I think we have the prototype for Meta Quest 3 as well, because it supports augmented reality as well, pass-through video. Also, they cause another misconception. They cause motion sickness in everyone. So that was true like 10 years ago. But right now, have you tried VR and felt the motion sickness? Yes. Okay. So it depends. It's not like you feel it every single time and you will say, okay, that's a bummer, like no one should use it. It depends on the person. That's one thing. Other thing is that all the designers and developers that create this kind of experiences, well, they created guidelines, we tested things, etc. So we know some approaches that we could take to actually make the experience cause less motion sickness. AR and VR are the same, another misconception. Well, that's also false, and you know that because of one of my previous slides. But to visualize it more, augmented reality would be the experience where your actual real world isn't occluded, so you can actually work with other physical people. You can discuss some designs that you can display in front of you, or you can walk on the factory floor, not being afraid of a forklift killing you, but have some digital stuff rendered in your vicinity. On the other hand, virtual reality would be an experience where you're fully immersed in this artificial world and you're not aware of anything that happens outside. And if you played VR games that are really immersive, you probably know the feeling that when someone pokes you from outside, you freak out, right? Have you felt something like that? It's really, really common because you're somewhere else, actually, right? Do you know what game that is? Half-Life Alyx. Great. It's not Half-Life 3, though. Who waits for Half-Life 3? Anyway, there you go. I'm with you. Another misconception. Well, with Alyx, that was a pretty interesting move because like everyone thought that's going to be a Half-Life 3, but what they did, they released Half-Life for VR. Like no one could play it, right? But that's still, it was released, I think, 4 years ago, and it's still, I think, one of the best AAA games for VR, and I really, really recommend it. But you have to have a powerful PC to run it. They're too expensive. Where they are not, you can get already used Quests, I guess, on eBay and stuff like that. Also, Quest 2 you can get for around 250 euros, so that's not expensive anymore, right? 250, and you have a standalone VR device with a large library of games. Of course, you have to buy them, but it's not like it's something you like an average person can't afford, because as I said, I mean, it costs as little as a regular video game console. They're isolating technologies. Well, yeah, I mean, VR used to be or still is isolating, but there are attaches to that technology, well, usually software-wise, that unlocks us with the possibilities that they're not that isolating. Like, for example, with VisionPro, whenever you're in that VR experience, for example, whenever someone is near you and talks to you and you look at that person appears from that real environment into your virtual environment. So it's not that blocking. MetaQuest also has technology similar to that. So, and also with the VisionPro, you have this crown here. When you move it, you can blend VR with AR seamlessly. So you can actually get out from the VR world instantly. Same is with Quest. MetaQuest supports like double tap to the to the side of the headset, and then you instantly go to the video pass-through mode. Well, that's the biggest misconception. They reached their full potential. People thinking that okay, we won't go any further with that, and that's very wrong. It's just, it doesn't progress that fast as what we've witnessed with smartphones. But still, if you think about it, we have smartphones for like, when was first iPhone released? 2007? So that's like 17 years? 2007, right? Something like that. So if we think about it, that's 17 years ago. That's a long time, right? And like a lot of change since iPhone 1 till iPhone 16, that's going to be in more than a week. So we have to witness something similar with VR and AR experiences, but these problems are harder to solve. And this is a quite nice example from some other guy that I follow. So he created this mixed reality design challenges checklist, which means if you'd like to make some of these better, like better cost or better field of view, you have to sacrifice some other things. So it's like playing n-dimensional chess, because technology is still not here. We're getting better, right? But it's still not here. So these are the most common issues that we have with the hardware. We need to solve all of them, so then maybe we will be able to have glasses like regular Ray-Bans and have experiences like we have on HoloLens or better. They require a lot of space. We already know they don't, because of the invention I mentioned that happened in 2017, because they moved the tracking to the headsets themselves and to the controllers. So there's no need to set up your environment with external trackers and put them here and there. And you just enter to the VR mode and that's it. You just draw a line on the floor and that's your area to play. It's just fad. It's not. If you look at the numbers, the sales of like MetaQuest headsets are rising and rising. Not sure what exactly, like if it's good or bad, or it could be better. I don't know. But still, the numbers are numbers, and like there are more and more headsets out there in the world. So as a developers, that's an information for us that there are more and more people that have these devices. So maybe there's for us as developers, there are more chances to like get out there, right? There's yet another platform to start coding your projects, right? And how to get started, right? Not going to go here into very details, just general things. First thing, Unity. That's the, like, you probably heard about it. That's the most common game engine. It's free. and it's pretty simple to actually start with it. Just go there and download and play with it. There's a lot of learning materials out there, whole paths at Unity Learn, and that's how I started a long time ago. And it's enough to actually start doing real things. There are emulators for like HoloLens, Magic Leap, etc. So we don't even need this device, but you can play with emulators, or you can get just MetaQuest 3 and use it as a VR device or an AR device, because it's good enough. Also, there's AR Foundation project, which kind of wraps, which is a layer of abstraction over other SDKs. So there are common things in that layer, like plane detection, image tracking, device tracking, face tracking, etc. And all the other platforms are trying to get the support for AR Foundation, so that you program against AR Foundation, and you can use any device depending on your needs. Also, there is a mixed reality toolkit originally from Microsoft, and that's a free toolkit for with controls like UI elements and guidelines for creating spatial software. And free, it's on GitHub, and you can actually play with it pretty nicely. There are examples, and you can even deploy them to your phones with AR Foundation. And that's pretty much it. I'm ready to answer your questions, if there are any. Ah. Oh yeah, okay. So they don't officially said anything that they're dropping it or they're like canceling everything. There are some NDA stuff that I know that I can't share with you, but from the outside it looks like they abandoned HoloLens and mixed reality stuff, because mixed reality toolkit free is actually like community driven. It's not by Microsoft, etc. So there are some weird movements there. I personally confused about what Microsoft is trying to do with that, because when it comes to HoloLens 1 and HoloLens 2 and MRTK, these are wonderful technologies. I mean, we can still use them and deliver proper value, but I don't know what happened there, so that they're trying to not to talk about it. I don't know, to be honest. So yeah, and that's why Magic Leap 2 now shines a little bit more, because like it's a real competition to HoloLens 2, and HoloLens 2 seems to be abandoned, so that's where Magic Leap comes in. Not yet, to be honest. Only playing with like examples. Yeah. Okay, so with Apple Vision Pro, it's actually you have to have Apple Silicon. So M1, M2, or M3 MacBook. So that's a disadvantage. Yes. Yeah.
So XR is kind of split into the consumer market and the professional enterprise market. Do you feel like any one side is kind of driving the development into future hardware and software, or do they kind of follow along?
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to Meta and their products, I think they're in these two worlds, because you can use MetaQuest for gaming, pleasure, or for work. When it comes to some other, like Magic Leap, they are clearly only for the enterprise world. They're not even trying to do anything like entertainment or anything like that. HoloLens and Microsoft, at the very beginning, I think they thought they're gonna do a consumer product because it was marketed like that. Not sure if you remember all the videos from 2016 and 17. There were like games for that. They marketed it as something you wear at your home and you have your home extended, right? But then quickly it happened that like the enterprise picked it up, and because it was too expensive for the regular people, it costed 3,500. So like no one could afford it. But on the other hand, the very interesting move by Apple, they created a consumer product which is 3,500. So I'm not sure how this market works anymore, to be honest. But yeah, it depends. I think Meta is doing the best job here in this area, honestly. Yeah. You might like Meta or not, but they're doing the best job here. Pardon? Oh, yeah, absolutely, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So this, educating people, that's one thing. Yeah. So one thing you mentioned, education, that's very important. And I mentioned that before with that piping project. It's like businesses aren't aware of these technologies, mostly, right? So sometimes we're coming with that and they're like, whoa, so we can solve this and this and that. Then we estimate it, and it's usually too expensive, but it's like the education is done, right? So they're aware now that, okay, we have technology to solve some issues, right? And it differs. There are scenarios like trade shows. I like trade shows because it's like I solved problems of bringing huge equipment to the trade show, like, I don't know, like big ovens or whatever, like big manufacturing equipment that you have to actually bring with your trucks. But rather, I had clients that we used like 13 pairs of HoloLenses and empty space. And all they had were CAD projects on that HoloLenses. And their customers were using HoloLenses to view all plethora of equipment they have in the offer, right? And they didn't have to bring like all the big stuff from their warehouses, right? So, the possibilities are endless here, but education is key. So we have to tell like every single industry, okay, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, right? Even trade show, like it's just a simple scenario. Okay, instead of bringing your equipment, we can bring all of your equipment, right? Virtually, on the glasses, right? And it doesn't have to be VR, it can be AR, like on HoloLenses. You don't have to, because some people are afraid of putting a VR headset because they are afraid of being closed in that virtual environment. But when it comes to HoloLens, you still see your environment, right? And then we render stuff on top of that. But people don't know that, so education is the key. The other thing is technology, that was on this slide, and that's also the key. That's the second ingredient here. It feels stuck, I think, because of that, mainly, right? But the education drives the need. If more companies would know that they actually need that, they might be more willing to invest in that, et cetera, right? But me, And people like me that works with in departments like mine, where we create and we are focused on these technologies, we are eagerly like waiting for Samsung right now, for example, because they are revealing their headset in autumn, right? I mean, at least that's what they said. And we keep waiting for, just give me yet another headset so that I can solve these problems. And I can go to the companies that said, okay, this headset is too expensive, too big, we can't achieve this. But I can, if I would get another one, the new one, I would just go to them and say, hey, I got it. We can do it on this one, okay? So there are several variables here, I think. Any more questions? Yeah? Yeah. Not sure if I understood the question. Yeah. Yep, but there's a need for education. Like they have to know that it is possible, right? Sometimes to lower the bar of entry, we suggest to implement something on the iPhones or Android phones because that's like everyone has it, right? And we can display a chair on the mobile phone in your vicinity, like for online commerce. Any other question? Basic condition of AI? How it plays with that? Well, it's a separate thing. It's like, I'm talking about purely things regarding the hardware and display and sensors that unlocks us to actually deliver these AR values. But if you would put AI and ML into that, well, that's just yet another technology that you have to integrate. I mean, you can do that. There are projects that are using that. One of the things I used in the past, I did how do you call it? The personal assistant, I would say. So how do you call this small guy in Microsoft Word that was Clippy? Exactly. So one company wanted the Clippy on the HoloLens, so that you wear HoloLens and you have this guy floating next to you, and you talk to him in your natural language. So I was using all the Azure cognitive services for like language understanding, natural language processing, etc. So you actually talked with that Clippy, and that Clippy was responsible for like querying the SharePoint database. And so you could ask that Clippy, hey, give me the instruction for this and this equipment, and all of a sudden it was like bringing you the PDF of the equipment that you asked for. So yeah, and that was actually for a big company, big manufacturing company. I can't name, I can't tell which was that, but yeah, that one of the big companies. So there are companies that are investing in that, that's for sure, even for simple projects like that. Okay. Thank you very much then. It was a pleasure.